aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Back at Patriots Point, Charleston Battery fans enjoying an evening out at the field, hoping that their first place side can pick up another victory, 4 in a row. They're enjoying right now, but scoreless against Louisville. We'll step aside here, take a look around USL Championship with some news and notes. And Oakland Roots, there have been some issues they've had with their stadium in the past, but they've outgrown their old place, Laney, and they're looking for some new digs. Oakland Coliseum, the Malibu lot, they have a lease, they have a proposal. Some big things brewing there. Charleston and Sacramento sit atop 2 unbeaten teams, and you have Louisville and Miami coming up on ESPN2. But going back to that Oakland bit there, that's huge for the league. If they can, in that community, which they've lost the Raiders, they are about to lose the Oakland Athletics, if they can be the team, the flagship fan base and team in the area, is going to be huge for the league.
And we know that team very well. We cover a lot of their games. The support that city has for the Oakland Roots, whether it's Laney College, whether it's the other venues that they played at. You talk to anyone around the Oakland Roots organization knows how massive this will be, and the fans that they're going to come, the atmosphere that's going to be created. So it's all hats off to the Oakland Roots and good things for USL Championship.
Absolutely. And we'll take a look ahead at the schedule around USL Championship. Schedule has a big one tonight between San Antonio and Phoenix. That's going to be a very telling matchup in the Western Conference. Also, Sacramento against Detroit. Detroit has really struggled early going here this season, but Sacramento looking to keep pace in the West, as Charleston has here in the East.
And you're talking about struggling. You're looking at that bottom left-hand corner, Miami FC and Las Vegas, winless between those two teams. Las Vegas Lights, all games on the road, all ties. Miami FC have yet to win, 3 goals for them. So what does that look like tomorrow? And then Loudoun, a completely different Loudoun under Ryan Martin at the moment, host the Oakland Roots.
See, I just learned that you're a glass half empty guy because you said that Las Vegas doesn't have a win yet. You could have also said they're unbeaten.
True.
4 games, 4 ties. So, you know, there's 2 ways of looking at it.
It was about the narrative. Winless. That game is win 2 of the winless teams.
Fair enough. We'll take a look at the scoreboard around the league here so far on this Saturday night, brought to you by Heineken. Switchbacks, New Mexico scoreless, San Antonio Phoenix scoreless, we're scoreless. All the goals being taken up by the Monterey Bay Indy game, apparently.
And Indy 11. We've talked about it all the time, Joe. The move that Mark Lowry did in the offseason to bring it on, unable to figure it out at the moment. Question marks all over in the 11. Monterey Bay figured it out under Frank Yallop, 3-0 at the mic. Not an easy place to play.
And they might be on the brink of one of the big cup sets of the week. I'll call my shot now. Monterey Bay hosting San Jose Earthquakes, who seem like they might trend toward playing a less than stellar starting 11, and Frank Yallop won 2 MLS Cups as the head coach of the Earthquakes. You know he's going to have his group ready, so I'm calling that one now. Monterey Bay pulls off the cup set on Tuesday against San Jose Earthquakes. I don't think you'll disagree with me on that one. I think you're on the same wavelength.
Same page.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll see how it goes coming up in the next week when US Open Cup resumes. USL Championship teams will be in full force, and they'll be in full force here in this second half. Charleston Battery, Louisville City FC, top 2 teams in the Eastern Conference, tied scoreless for now, 45 more to play.
The estimated hold time is now 96 minutes.
Sorry, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, please hold.
Hey Google, turn up the heat.
Charleston is located in the low country of South Carolina.
The history here, it runs deep, and you can't imagine being anyplace else.
This place is magical.
It's Earth Day, and that's beautiful. Just enjoy it for a second. Happy Earth Day 2023. Doesn't have to be a shot of the Earth, technically. It's the moon. It's not Earth, but it's still beautiful. You're seeing it from Earth. Happy Earth Day. Enjoying the global game here between Charleston Battery and Louisville City FC, scoreless in the first half, as we take a look at those highlights.
We're waiting for someone to produce a worldly piece of magic here.
On Earth Day.
There you go. Good ball in from Amadou Dia. I think if you're Mushikalusa, you pick your head up, you cut this ball back to the trailing run of Wilson Harris. It's probably 1-0 for Lou City, but give credit to Trey Muse off his line. That back line for Charleston Battery, whether it's AJ Patterson, Archer, and Trey Muse, spot on in terms of their positioning. But you start to see Charleston Battery getting into that final third a bit more with the movement of Williams, Traeger, and Marcanic. As Williams drops in, it's Marcanic that goes in behind and tests the shape, but it's a very difficult finish as his ball's bobbling around between him and Gibson, up and over the bar. But again, Joe, it was just very cagey, especially in that middle field. No one had the ability to break through, to have that final piece of quality. But a lot of the movement from Lou City came from the left-hand side. This time, it's Telefson to hit that early ball. AJ Patterson positioning, once again, perfection. You started talking about the press. That was something that Ben Pyramid highlighted to us. Probably comes out to the best option for Charleston Battery, turning their defense into offense. But credit to Zembla. Security right at his hands. 0-0 at halftime.
What's going to give for one of these two teams to break through here in this second half, do you think?
I think if you force a turnover, how quickly can you get out in transition? Because the way that both of these two teams want to play, they want to be expansive. They want to pin back the opposition, so they want to play wide. But if you force a turnover and you play quick and you play direct between lines, there's too much talent in that final third not to find the back of the net.
These teams met a year ago tomorrow to a 1-1 draw. It might be the same result here tonight in terms of the draw. Scoreless one, however, for now, as we begin half number 2 with Charleston in the black and yellow from left to right, and Louisville in the white with purple trim from right to left. With Ricky Lopez Espin, I'm Joe Malfa, happy to have you along tonight, and again, a happy Earth Day. Did you go for a walk today?
Of course I did. Every morning. Yourself?
I did. I sat out by the lake, and I saw a few ducks. There's a lake there. Saw a few ducks, had a good day. Augie Williams gets in behind now on his right foot. Winder lunged it at the end there. Not much there as Kalen Udasov just tells Augie Williams to get back to his feet. Ben Pierman noted for having a terrific sneaker collection as the Charleston Battery head coach. Asked him if he made sure he made to bring those across from Memphis to Charleston. He said absolutely, but I hope he's going with a different selection tonight on the very saturated side of the field. Allen looking long for Barajas. the top from Patterson. Mushagalusa cuts it inside. It took a slight touch off of Allen. Mushagalusa gets it back. Sent long to Manny Perez. Ownby inside Wilson Harris. Back to Ownby. He put it wide. Best opportunity of the night for Louisville as Ben Pierman paces in those shoes. Those look way too nice to be wearing on this field tonight.
I think those are Jordan 4s, if I'm correct. Whatever that is, that's called swag. And in play that has swag is just his movement between Brian Ownby and Manny Perez. As Manny Perez stays out wide, Ownby comes centrally. It's a good ball in to cut it back. Almost to get the second bite of the apple with those two players. The movement between Wilson Harris and Brian Ownby, very good and very lethal, as we've seen throughout Blue City's attacking phases.
Now you've got quite the collection when you can't put a number to it. I asked him one time to put a number to it, and he didn't know the answer to that question, so. Perez, back for Tosh. Switched out to Amadou Dia. Del Piccolo picks up the head. Finds Mushagalusa. Wilson Harris calling for it in that tight little space ahead of Mushagalusa, but he can't get past. Eric Dodson now over the top for Ownby. Best he could do was flick it on. And the offside flag came up as well. And Pierman has to be happy, I suppose, with what he's seen so far. He's done exactly what he told us they wanted to do in terms of the defensive shape and keeping control here. He's not happy with the way that foul looked.
And those two players have been going at it all night. Well, it's Augie Williams and Josh Winder. Augie Williams has been extremely active in this hold-up play. When you have a striker that can do everything, spinning behind, come to feet, the movement is just a nightmare to defend. It's between Josh Winder and Sean Tosh. The movement, who's going to step up with Augie Williams causing all sorts of problems between that back line in Blue City.
Neutralized him so far, Augie Williams. Coming off a career high. Wouldn't say it was his best USL Championship season. What do I mean by that? He had 15 goals last year in his 31 starts. It's a career high in goals to 15, but he had 13 in 2020 in the shortened season with 16 games. So what would that have looked like in a 32, 34 game season after 13 in 16? So career year by raw numbers last season, but his most prolific season came in 2020. He just hasn't really stopped scoring, though, since that 2020 season period. He's 2 away from vaulting into, very quietly, vaulting into the top 10 all-time in USL Championship. Still just 25 years of age. Good bit of time with Portland Timbers 2, then Los Dos. Loaned to San Diego Loyal before Charleston, then last season. And he is up to 57 goals. Tied for 13th, scores 2 more. And he vaults 5 players, all tied and up into the top 10. Amadou Dia cuts in, finds Ownby. Now wide to Perez.
When those are situations that, if you're Television, you need to get a line higher and let that ball be out to Brian Ownby. As this ball comes out to Manny Perez, he doesn't have the attacking capabilities that Brian Ownby does, the 1v1 creativeness that we've seen throughout Ownby's career. Just those little things that Danny Cruz is going to want, tells him to push a bit higher. That elects Ownby to go a line higher as well and to have the real estate to operate in.
Winder tried to force that one out to Mushagalusa, intercepted. Allen going the wrong way here. Patterson now out to Dodson. Pressured well by Mushagalusa. Fortunately for Charleston, it ricochets through for Williams. Dodson sends one for Barajas to run onto, battling with Winder. The two 17-year-olds, Barajas wins it. Winder puts it a challenge. Barajas skips by, and it's headed away by Perez. We'll talk about the matchup between Augie Williams and Josh Winder as the marquee tonight, but two 17-year-olds going at it as well. Give me some more of that over the next 40 minutes.
Just see the soft feet there from Fidel Barajas. Tight spaces, the ball's glued to him. Ability to break out and challenge his shape going behind. And also the ball at his feet as well. Can do it all, the young man.
Just barely kept it in there, Barajas. Polvara. Charleston Battery just need to do something offensively as well to get the crowd back into this one as well. It feels like they've also been lulled here in the doldrums of this match.
I just think it comes down to the movement of this young man as well, Nick Marcanic. You don't want him to play so deep.
That could help here through to Traeger. Zemla lost in open territory again. Has to get back. Open goal is deflected. And wrong side of the post. Out for a corner. That'll get the crowd back to life a little bit here. Zemla just invited the pressure.
If you're a goalkeeper, you come off your line, you need to be extremely decisive and clean in your decision making. I think if you win, you're gonna want this one back. It just takes a little bit too long. That gives Shantosh the ability to come across and put a deflection on it. But nervy moments for the goalkeeper of Lewis City coming off his line. And talk about the relationship between Augie Williams, and this time it's Christian Traeger getting in behind. Augie Williams comes to feet. Traeger goes a give and go relationship on that front line for Ben Pierman.
It's probably a terrific game to watch from a coach's perspective, just tactically brilliant between these two teams. Fans want to see some action though. Now from the corner, swerved in. Zemla has to parry it away. Going for the Olympico, almost had it.
And there's always going to be quality here from Polvara. What a fantastic save. An even better ball. He knows it's traffic. He knows he's going to take contact. Zemla very securely and confidently pushes it away.
Here's Allen. A couple of good opportunities back-to-back for Charleston. Sent in from Barajas, all the way out for a goal kick. That's something to finally build off of here for one of these two teams offensively. Battery have a brand new look on and off the field this year thanks to Hummel, the club's official jersey provider. Check out the full line of new Battery gear, including the custom 2023 primary, secondary, and alternate kits by visiting shop.charlestonbattery.com. Leland Archer all the way back for Trey Muse. Trey Muse did not go on the same adventure that Oliver Zemla just did at the other end. He still gives possession away. One right back by Polvara. Slots one through here. Winder on his horse to get there. And it'll deflect out for a goal kick.
We've talked about transition moments, winning the ball in the center of the park and playing quick and playing direct to break lines. It's a great idea from Polvara, but even better recovery run and just reading of the game from the young man, Joshua Winder.
Dangerous ball back from Tellefson. Not much that coach was able to do with it except flick it along for Perez. Dylan Maris is getting ready to pop on for Louisville. And then will come now Paolo Del Piccolo. We'll see his night come to an end.
Just didn't really make his impact felt, the young man, Paolo Del Piccolo. And able to find the game. Did a lot of the work, hard off the ball and challenges. And how many times have we seen him joining that final tack, that final third? Man who knows about the final third, Dylan Maris. That final touch, goals, assists, See how quickly he can acclimate to this game.
Dylan Maris has missed some time this year. Who hasn't, as we showed you at the beginning of the night, for injury for Louisville, but two different ones for him. Broke his thumb and then had a gash on his ankle that he picked up in US Open Cup. I feel he brings a different dynamic to the attacking third. Here's Wilson Harris. Wants to get it back to his left foot. Does just that, lays it off. Oldby saved by Muse. Best looking opportunity of the night for Louisville. I think we've seen more opportunities in the last 5 to 10 minutes back and forth between these two teams than we had in the entirety of the first half. All the way back again for Zebla, who really started this whole thing with his misplay. All of a sudden, it's been chance after chance. Sometimes all you need to see is one like that, and it opens up the floodgates. Winder, look out, goes down. Play on, says the referee. Barajas with it. Winder seemed to think he drew the foul. Lucky that he didn't do that typical move of grabbing the ball when he was down on the field. Otherwise, it would have been a handball.
We've seen a lot in the last 5 minutes here, Joe. You love to see it, the players expressing, taking chances in that final third. That's something that this game was calling and begging for. And who's going to have that final quality? Great run.
Barajas gets the feed from Augie Williams. 1v1 with Amadou Dia. Barajas serves it. Williams was there, flicked away by Tosh. Here's Traeger. Has options in the box. Overlap from way in. Back in front. Williams was there. Dodson serves it up. Comes out to Allen. Crowd screaming to shoot. He listens, but it's saved by Zemla.
And it's just fantastic stuff here from Charleston Battery. A give and go between Declan Rinn and Chris Traeger. The cutback ball, I think, is the most effective when you get into that final third. As the back line is always crashing towards that goal line, there's always real estate about 12 yards out. Unable to get a clean touch on it, Traeger. We just see the ideas coming out for Charleston Battery, especially in that final third, once you get in and around that 18-yard box.
Looked for a long time like we might be headed to a scoreless draw in this game. That has suddenly changed on a dime as we're past the hour mark here at Patriots Point. With Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Joe Malva. Happy to have you with us tonight for this top-of-the-table clash. First place, Charleston, still unbeaten. Pair of draws to begin the season. 4 straight wins since then. For Louisville, opened the year with 2 wins. Had 2 just terrible, forget-about-it losses against El Paso and Sacramento. And now have won the last 2 again. To get to 4 wins, 2 losses, 12 points, sitting 2 back of Charleston in the early going.
Joe, you just see the movement on the front end from Charleston Battery. World different from that first half, and it just comes to this pacing and the spacing of Nick Marcanic. But we take a look at this once again. Traeger win the underlap and the overlap to come secondary to that cutback ball. Just so unlucky, not able to get that finishing touch. And then Allen's going to want this one back. It's a good idea, just lacking the execution.
Another giveaway. Williams saved by Zemla. Right off the goal kick, just given away.
And lack of communication between players of Lou City. Augie Williams doesn't need a second invitation to pull the trigger, especially 20 yards out. Right at Zemla once again. You just see that high press for Charleston Battery, causing all sorts of chaos and frustration for Lou City, having a very difficult time dealing with it at the moment.
Charleston getting closer and closer to perhaps breaking this deadlock. It's been a while since Louisville's been scored on in all competitions. On the turn here, Traeger looking to end that streak.
Next one.
They lost that game 5-0 against Sacramento on the 1st of April. They gave up a goal in the 90th minute of that game. Ever since then, 1-0 win against Lexington in Open Cup, 1-0 win against Detroit, 1-0 win against San Antonio. In the 62nd minute here, it's been 332 minutes since Louisville last conceded a goal in any competition. A couple of changes on the way. Wes Sharpie will make his season debut. He's been on the shelf with an injury. Mushagalusa coming over to the sideline, as is Tyler Gibson. Carlos Mogul coming on as well.
Substitution in the 63rd minute for Louisville City FC. Coming out, number 77, Enoch Mushagalusa, and number 12, Tyler Gibson. And coming in, number 6, Wes Sharpie, and number 8, Carlos Mogul.
Right through here for Allen. Wes Sharpie has dropped into the back line, it looks like, for Louisville. See who steps up, maybe into the midfield on the wing for Mushagalusa. If they just push Dia higher up the field. Augie Williams chips it. The flag came up, and it went wide anyway.
Just playing off the shoulder of the back line of Sean Tosh. Augie Williams finding all sorts of real estate to operate in. Just a bit too eager as he takes a step off sides. I'm talking tactically for Lou City now. Josh Winder pushes out to his left back position. That pushes, you're correct, Joe, Dia into that midfield 3. When we steps high to join Wilson Harris.
Sharpie and Tosh spent a lot of time together in the middle of that back line for Louisville City. Ownby scoops it ahead. Dia battling Archer, gets to the end line. Corner coming for the visitors.
And Dia just gives you a different look on this left-hand side. The ability to whip a ball in from all sorts of angles. Left-footed in swinger. Two Mayers, Ownby and Harris. Those 3 movement and around that 18-yard block needs to be spot on to create confusion within the back line of Charleston Battery at the moment.
And it will be Maris who takes the corner. Maris to the back post, flicked away by Patterson. Perez gets it end line, cuts it back, falls through for Maris into the ground off of Wilson Harris. Wes Sharpie led the team in minutes last year. Also led in clearances, blocks, tied for 2nd in interception. So important on that back line. Making his season debut here off the bench. Was injured for the first 6 games. Could also see Cameron Lancaster in the late stages here if they need a spark offensively. And they're going to have a yellow card produced. Rasmus Tellefsen in the book. First player on Louisville with one of those. The only other one on the field belongs to Augie Williams. In this second half alone, Charleston 5 shots, 2 on target. Louisville 2 shots, 1 on target. Very different than what we saw in the first half. Allen opens up into a pocket of space, finds Traeger. Sharpie cuts it out.
Really clever movement there from Allen just to play off the shoulder of Mogul. Get the ball in the half turn. And Sharpie comes across and then miss a beat, put it out for the throw in.
Williams was waiting for it. Winder came clearing through. Now Fidel Barajas, what's he thinking about here off the bar? A walking 17-year-old highlight reel almost had another, and here he goes again.
Yeah, good shot. Good shot.
As no one from Lou City steps up, he says, "You're going to give me this space, I'll make you pay for it." What a fantastic hit. Tries to bend it into that top corner. Zelma has no shot at it. Just so unlucky, just kisses it off the crossbar. This young man is special. Right before our eyes, Joe. The ability to pull up from about 25 yards out at an angle to rope this thing.
Here's Marcanic stumbling a bit, gets it through for Williams. Flag stay down, Williams puts it wide. It's not often you'll see Augie Williams with a miss of that extent.
But once again, it just comes to the spacing, the position from Nick Marcanic as it draws so much attention. Augie Williams is not offside. He comes from a deep line position. Need to have a bit more composure. You just see the balance as he swings at it, pulls it wide. He also has Christian Traeger for the sweat across. He's going to want this one back, that quality. We've talked about it all night. The goals that he scored throughout his career in USL Championship, that one needs to be in the back of the net.
9 times out of 10, he probably puts it in the back of the net. 4 goals in 6 games already this season. Well, we are getting into the later stages here, and that's where Charleston has been racking up the points. Scored last second from 35 yards out against Tampa Bay to win it 2-1. Scored off a free kick against Hartford in the dying moments to win it 3-2. Second half comeback against Tulsa in the last game. Now it's Ownby for Louisville. Squares it back, deflected out for a corner. And that's why, talking about some of the late heroics for Charleston, Ben Pierman doesn't want them reading too much into their own personal 6-match unbeaten run to begin the season, because they could just as easily be sitting here with an extra loss or 2, an extra draw or 2, instead of 4 wins and 2 draws. Can they keep that composure late on here defensively, as they have the last couple of games? 20 minutes to go. Corner for Louisville. To the top side of the 6. All the way out for Amadou Dia.
The difficult technique there from Amadou Dia. As the ball pops off to your least preferred right foot. The traffic coming on, you need to be patient to let it go, to come down. The timing, just gets it all wrong, puts it up and over the bar.
Second half that has looked very different than the first. More open, more direct, more chances. Some of those because of sloppiness, giveaways that led directed opportunities. Plenty that were just some good build-up play that we didn't necessarily see in the first half. One between Colorado Springs and New Mexico. Goalless everywhere else. Here, RGV hosting Memphis, and San Antonio hosting Phoenix, all goalless. More action to come later this evening. El Paso about to kick off, hosting Pittsburgh. And then at the 10 p.m. Eastern hour, Orange County hosting Birmingham. Sac Republic hosting Detroit. Sacramento just scored, actually. Pardon me, Colorado Springs just scored, actually. It would have been tough for Sacramento to score when they haven't kicked off yet. Colorado Springs just made it 2-1 over New Mexico. Left short for Dia, read well by Dodson.
The back four for Charleston Battery have been so good at just sniffing out any sort of 50-50 ball, winning their challenges, positioning spot on. You've been Piran, you have to be extremely pleased with your boys defensively in their efforts.
Ownby is through, flag stays down. Brian Ownby shoves off the ball by Patterson. Play on, said Kalen Radosov. That would have been a penalty, it would have been a dog, so instead, Radosov deems it clean. Now the other way with Augie Williams. Barajas calling for it on the right side. Williams pressured by Winder, now finds Allen, and they do finally get it out. For Barajas. Dodson. Marcanic. Taken down, free kick on the way.
As I'm talking about this back line from Charleston Battery, as Leland Archer steps up, there needs to be a player to come across. AJ Patterson, the recovery speed is spot on. Nothing in there for me. The body takes up Brian Ownby, terrific defensively, individually. And then Marcanic once again staying high, playing off the shoulder of that midfield three for Lou City, causing all sorts of problems. He's been the game changer in the second half, draws a foul. Very dangerous set piece here for Charleston Battery.
Marcanic looks the one poised to strike this. It is Marcanic right into the wall. That hit about knee high for Josh Winder.
Switch on! Slide in! Come across! Hey, as Derek slides out!
Seen 3 changes on the Louisville side. Haven't seen one yet on the Charleston side.
I'm here.
Players available on the bench for Charleston include AJ Cochran, who we've seen 3 times this year, Robbie Crawford in that midfield, Joe Schmidt in that midfield. Attacking options are Aiden Apodaca, Jesse Randall. They don't necessarily have the same type of depth and bench that Louisville have on a night like this. Perhaps why Ben Pierman is rolling with his starters a bit longer. Especially considering that over the last few minutes, his starters have found a couple of breakthroughs. Created opportunities, just haven't turned them into goals. Up to 8 shots now in this second half. 2 of those on target, one of them smacking off the crossbar by Fidel Barajas.
Just not being clinical in the moment for Charleston Battery. They're doing extremely well breaking into that final third. The only thing that's been letting them down is that quality. The looks are there. Just need to stick the ball in the back of the net.
Vogel lofts the free kick. Ownby heads it. Quarter of an hour remains, still scoreless here at Patriots Point. Trey Muse biding his time, getting it back into play. Ownby, he's onside. Muse has to head it away. It skipped out of the box with that side spin that was on it. Cam Lancaster and Elijah Winder are getting ready to sub on now for Louisville. Some fresh legs in the attack. Imagine Lancaster would be for Wilson Harris. I don't know that we've ever seen them play together.
23.
Take this corner before they make the subs.
14 coming out. 14.
Whipped in near post. Ownby was waiting.
Hey, John, who's the second out? 10 and 14. 10? 10.
Hey, it's 5, not 10. It's 5, not 10.
Tellefson squares it inside to Maris. Now Ownby. Back for Tellefson. Very quiet night for Rasmus Tellefson. Gets it back from Ownby. Winder. Dia. Contact there. It goes against Louisville. Maris taking down Patterson. Cam Lancaster comes on for Wilson Harris. Elijah Winder for Brian Ownby.
Coming out number 10, Brian Ownby. Coming out number 14, Wilson Harris.
Lancaster has just 1 goal so far on the season, making his 6th appearance. See if he can find number 2 in relief of Harris, who's been the man to get them their goals in these 1-0 games the last 2 times out against Detroit and San Antonio. If they have the same result tonight, it'll have to come from somebody else.
Just didn't really get the service that he wanted in around that 18-yard box. Really impactful, but that's a lot of credit to Charleston Battery back line. You add Allen and Polvaro in between those, the relationship, the movement, the coverage, spot on so far. 80 minutes in for Ben Pierman's side. Now you have Cameron Lancaster, you can be quiet for 20 minutes, but that 1 second he can make you pay. Just a move, playing off the shoulder, clever. That secondary movement, what I mean by that, come to feet, spinning behind, or vice versa. Has everything in his locker. There's a reason why he's so highly touted within the USL Championship in his career, his stats, everything.
Call for the foul this time. Coming in and undercutting Derek Dodson. Here's Ownby. They made a correction on the substitution. Ownby ended up staying on. On the turn, Maris looking through for Lancaster. It was Rasmus Tellefson who came out instead of Brian Ownby. Last minute change of heart for Louisville. Winder pushing through. Dia called for the foul. Allen keeps Dodson down for a little bit longer.
Keep coming, Dylan. Dylan, keep coming.
Trey Muse sends it long. Game has settled back into a bit of a lull again after that back and forth stretch. I saw Barajas hit the crossbar. An exchange of chances for both teams. Settled by Dia. Dangerous pass inside, taken away now by Polvara. Give it right back to Louisville. Ownby leading the charge, taken down from behind. That should be a yellow to Allen.
Number 4. 4 yellow.
Yellow card.
Professional foul here from Chris Allen. He knows Brian Ownby's off to the races if he doesn't put a challenge in. He stops this transition moment. He's been so good in the center of the park for Ben Pierman.
Yellow card brought to you by Spinks. Convenience stores located throughout South Carolina. So Louisville have expended all 5 of their substitutions here. So they will need Ownby to get back to his feet, otherwise play down a man. Still no subs for Charleston, 83rd minute. And Pierman showing the faith in his guys and trusting their legs to hold up. Looks like they will get at least one of those ready now in just a moment. Jesse Randall seems to be getting some final instructions from the staff. Mogul. Ahead to Augie Williams. Flag stayed down again, but he stumbled. Those wide channels that are a bit saturated coming into play again. Hasn't been as bad in the second half as it was in the first half. On an inopportune stumble for Williams, and now it's right back the other way. Ownby pushing it ahead, hoping to find his man Lancaster. Now a late whistle coming back to give Dodson a yellow card. Kalen Radisab. Pick up the reason. Must have been something back behind the play in transition.
As it's a 50-50 ball here, you can just see Dodson, the sweeping leg that catches Josh Winder on the back end of it. But it's a good idea as the other Winders go running in behind. I know be just a bit too heavy on the ball. Good refereeing to play the advantage.
Ref, stay back 3 or 4 of them and he's giving nothing. It's unbelievable. I say reckless, I didn't go through the back of them.
Dodson, Allen, Williams, all with yellows now for Charleston. Brought to you by Spink's Convenience Stores.
Coming. He's ready, but I need him here.
Here comes Randall. He'll be on for Tristan Traeger. Just a second appearance of the season for Randall. Came on for 18 minutes earlier in the year, missed a stretch of time in March because he was away with New Zealand's U23 national team. But they expect him to play a big role here this season, off the bench at least for the time being. The action now after the first sub of the night for Charleston.
Watch here.
Traeger just subbed off, but he's still involved here, picking up a yellow. Picking up the ball after it came out. And Dodson has to be careful not to argue this too much because he just picked one up himself. Four minutes to play of the 90. Stoppage time might be a bit loftier than we thought it was going to be a few moments ago. All of a sudden, this game has lost its rhythm. Stoppage after stoppage, injuries, yellow cards, substitutions. Hanging in the balance, the all-time wins lead in the modern era of USL Championship regular season play. Louisville has 140. Charleston has 140, tied for first place. They could live tied for another week if this finishes with the same score line. I don't think either side would sneeze at a point each at this stage of the season, particularly Louisville. having this game on the road. Maybe a different vantage point of it here. Charleston, 3 points you felt you should have had, maybe, given the chances you've enjoyed in the second half. Louisville would be a third straight league match, fourth straight match overall, in which they kept the 0 after giving up 8 in 2 games against El Paso and Sacramento. They'd have to be happy going back home.
I think Danny Cruz just, it's a hard challenge there from Mogul. Comes in through the side of Augie Williams. If you're Danny Cruz, very difficult to play against. That's something that you want to respond. You talk about losing at home against El Paso, going to Sacramento, getting played with their 5-0 loss there. So what was the reaction going to look like on the back end of it? So far, 88 minutes, very good defensively as well. You see Mogul go in the book, but just a nightmare to defend. And that's something that Ben Pierman was very vocal about. Said, look, nothing is going to be easy against such a hard challenge. The second look of it, I don't really know there's an argument to be had from the youngster. We've seen quality, whether it's Barajas, Polvara over the ball. I don't expect anything less in this moment here.
It will be Barajas this time, curls it backside of the 6, punch by Zemla. Out to Allen, deflected. And it doesn't make it through. Otherwise, Zemla was down on the ground going for the dive. Who knows where that would have ended up. Brilliant first touch by Barajas. Better step by Winder to win it. Elijah Winder, that is, going back defensively now to help. Kenny Cruz unhappy with the officiating here in the late stages. I don't know if Ben Pierman's any happier on his side. Chalk that up to the intensity of two coaches who want to see their teams come away with 3 points in the late stages. First place Charleston, second place Louisville in the Eastern Conference, separated by just 2 points. Both have played 6 matches coming into the night. 4-game winning streak for Charleston. 2-game winning streak for Louisville. Dia taken down by Williams. He's already on a yellow. Augie Williams is off. And they'll miss him the next game as well. A huge loss for Charleston. Those impacts won't be felt as much tonight as they will when they take the field against Colorado Springs next week.
Second yellow card, red card issued to Augie Williams for the Charleston Battery. That second yellow card has resulted in a match ejection.
As this ball comes out, you can just see Augie Williams. There's no need to go in a challenge like that. You know the ball's getting away from Amadou Dia. There's 5 minutes left in this one, but the one that's going to hurt is the next game here for Charleston Battery. And bring in Cochran to solidify things in that back end. Augie Williams just need to have a bit more composure in his decision making, knowing that you're already on a yellow card. There's no need to go into this challenge.
Barajas will come off here for Cochran. 5 minutes of stoppage time. Brought to you by MUSC Health Sports Medicine.
The referee has just indicated 5 minutes of additional time. 5 minutes. Injury time is sponsored by MUSC Health Sports Medicine. Don't let an injury hurt your game.
Down to 10 men now, Charleston. Can Louisville commit the numbers forward and try to find a late winner here? Maris curls it toward Ownby. Played back in over the top. Winder jockeying for position. Ownby comes away with it. Ownby goes for goal. Ill-advised, ambitious, and had a play for a goal kick.
And it's always interesting, Joe, when you go up a man, what it does for you mentally and your side. You think you have a bit more time and space to take extra touches, to become complacent. But now you're in this 92nd minute. You have to move the ball extremely quick, make this Charleston Battery side shift from left to right, and when the gaps open up, play direct, play swiftly through the lines, and be direct. Trying to ask questions of that man who's been widely untested in this game. It's a credit to this back line. I keep harping on just the effort within Ben Pierman's boys.
Final 3 minutes of stoppage time now. Lancaster hasn't seen any of the ball since coming on for Wilson Harris, but that was an issue that Harris had as well. Service to the target men just haven't been there tonight for Louisville.
Come across.
Dodson will do it again, just from further up the field this time.
Orange keeper handshake. Just under 3 yet.
Kalen Radisov is coming over to have a word with Marcanic and Dia.
Stay switched on. Switch on, Brian. Switch him on.
They want to hurl this one toward the penalty spot. Charleston. Dodson leaps into the throw, gets it long, flicked on towards Zemla. An easy gather for the keeper.
Charleston, number 13.
So upcoming Charleston 13.
Midfielder right here. To my side is coming out.
Final 90 seconds. It's back for Tosh.
13. White cleats right here.
19 in, 13 out. Charleston.
Louisville playing up a man. Augie Williams sent off second yellow moments ago. Robbie Crawford getting ready to check in for a brief cameo here for the home side. Mogul. Settled. And won by Dodson. Harassed by Dia. Kept in play. Winder call for the foul. 5 minutes were given. Had some stoppages throughout this stoppage time. It's up to Kalen Radisov if he wants to play beyond those 5. And if he's true to the number, about 30 seconds to go before this top of the table clash between first place Charleston and second place Louisville ends in a scoreless draw. One last chance perhaps for Louisville. Maris, glance at the watch from Kalen Radisov. Maris looking ahead. Out to Winder, skipping along, keeps it in. Mogul. Turns it up the field, looking through, intercepted. Taken right back by Louisville. Ownby. Full minute past the 5 minutes now. Ownby turning the corner. Out for a throw. They won't need to take it. It started scoreless, it finishes scoreless. First place Charleston adds 1 more point to the stockpile. Second place Louisville, same thing. Charleston Battery keep their 2-point lead over Louisville as the top dogs in the Eastern Conference. Get the sense these two teams will be crossing paths with a lot on the line later in the season. Trey Muse, a couple of stops. Tonight's Heineken man of the match, keeping the clean sheet. for the Charleston Battery. Didn't have a lot to do in the late stages. His back line really kept him clean as it finishes scoreless on the evening from Patriots Point. We're back in just a moment to wrap things up. 0 for Charleston, 0 for Louisville.
Think big. Something life-changing. I'm talking education. Let's get inventive. Blow things up in a good way. Do it for 20 years? Wake up and education has received billions in funding. Who does all this? If you've ever played one of these or these, that would be you. Yeah, thank you.
Charleston is located in the Low Country of South Carolina.
The history here, it runs deep, and you can't imagine being anyplace else.
This place is magical.
Your final score tonight brought to you by Wicked Weed Brewing. Scoreless between Charleston and Louisville as the first and second place teams locked horns and neither side gave an inch. We'll take a look at the highlights this evening, brought to you by Bud Light. Early going, there was not a ton for either side offensively. The opportunities would come eventually. Ball came over the top, through for Mushagalusa. Trying to send it in near post. Del Piccolo a bit slow in crashing that near post. Gather in the end easy for Trey Muse. The first warning sign from Louisville. It would take a while until the next one would come. Wilson Harris cut in, would lay it off to Brian Ownby in space. Good run from the veteran midfielder, but not the best contact we've ever seen him put on a ball. Just passed it into the waiting arms of Trey Muse. A few moments later, at the other end of the field, a giveaway by Maris put it right into the path of Augie Williams. Swarmed by a couple of white jerseys, had to take the strike from distance. And same thing as we saw on the other end of the field with Ownby, laying it right into the arms of Muse. That one directly at Oliver Zemla. A few moments later, 68th minute, comes all the way through to Fidel Barajas, looking over the shoulder. Nobody comes to him, so he says, you know what, call my own number, and does this. Bends it off the crossbar. Brilliant individual moment for one of the brightest young talents in USL Championship. It was a few inches away from goal of the week, maybe goal of the month honors. And the difference between a win and a draw, same could be said here. For Augie Williams, the difference between a win and a draw came in alone, put it wide. 4 goals in 6 games. You expect him to do better, and you expect him to be wiser here. Picked up an early yellow card. In the 90th minute, picks up a second, and now his team will miss him next week against Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Second half stats brought to you by Heineken, a 10-7 advantage in the shots for Charleston, 3 on target to 1. Just about even in terms of the possession, and this is just the second half alone to show you how active it was in the second half after both teams had just a couple of shots each in the first. They'll be happy Louisville to get out of this with a point. Charleston maybe not as much on their home field. Well, you could see that these are 2 of the top teams in the Eastern Conference and the league. Finished scoreless despite all the excitement coming in. Next up for Louisville, they have an Open Cup game against Cincinnati, and for Charleston, Open Cup against Charlotte before back-to-league action next week. That'll do it for us here tonight from Patriots Point. From broadcast partner Ricky Lopez-Espin and the crew that makes this possible, I'm Joe Malva saying good night from the Low Country, where the Battery and Louisville finished scoreless.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.